Hey, all right, Rippers, we're back. We're in the kitchen, right? In the kitchen with Rip, or Rip's Kitchen. That's what everybody wants to call it, Rip's Kitchen. First off, get yourself a cup of coffee. Because if you're burning the candle at both ends like I am, like everybody should be right now, getting things put away, well, that's a good thing. And if you guys look at my videos, you'll see one coming up for me putting away beef and stuff like that. That's a good one too, right? Check it out. Always got to have you some good coffee. Been trying to get work done out in the garden because I really need to do that. But the weather here, what do you know? It switched from sunny, sunny, sunny to rainy, rainy, rainy. And now it's doing the Oregon thing where I'll go out, it'll be sunny, I'll start to work, and I'll get soaking wet in like 5 minutes. It'll just pour. And then it'll pour for a while and then go sunny again when you come inside and get all dried off and go starting to do other things, right? Speaking of which, let's take a look at other things really quick. Look at this. I'm going to turn you guys right there. See there? Remember that? That, I told you guys I was making those, let's see there. Here we go. Them targets, right? And you'll see that my daughter was, look at this. Bless her heart. She went out for a job interview, which she got. She already knew she was going to get it at a bakery. That's going to be awesome. I'm so proud of her. Going out and working and getting already signed up for college next year and getting her scholarships and all of that. And she managed to find herself a car for a screaming deal that is going to get her to and from just fine. Tell you what, I couldn't be more blessed with more wonderful kids. But that being said, check this out. She was going to get rid of this. These are those boards they do for projects where they put stuff on it, right? And you can get ones that fold in 3 ways. And she did some art stuff on it, was going to throw it away. Well, this is perfect backstop for the in the indoor-outdoor range at your house, right? So, as you guys know, so you can just take this and you score it on one side and then score it on the other. Now, you know these boards are made out of like plastic and foam, right? Check this out. So we're going to cut this one this way. I already scored it on one side, but you just cut it to the size you need. Now, if you look here, what I've done is I took a small box that I get the HelloFresh stuff in, right? I took one of the small boxes and put it inside one of the medium boxes, and that's the perfect size for targets all the way around. Look, I found me some mini man targets. Now, the cool thing about mini man targets is when you're working with BB guns and at closer range, if you want to simulate shooting further out, right? Or say shooting something that has less recoil, you want to simulate something that has bigger recoil, get smaller targets. That then makes it harder because the X-ring, the head ring, all of those are smaller, so it brings it into proportion. You see what I mean, right? So that's the thing to do. Get yourself some smaller targets, and then on the other side, work on your accuracy targets, right? So as you can see, I cut those things up. I got some in here already. Cut them up to just the right size, and I slip them down in here to help slow down the BBs, right? Now, you can see I've also got pop can cardboard in here from Pop Things. It's a good way to recycle, too. And then all of the paper scraps you have at home, right? Wad those up in the inside. Even old plastic bags, Walmart bags, wad them all up and stuff them in there. Not only will this stop BBs, but it'll stop most of your archery as well if you're using just regular tips on it, right? So this is great. You can practice at home. So as you can see, I got myself all cut up. I put some of those in there. I've made me up a bunch of these, right? And we're going to set them up in the backyard once the garden's going. And that way, while I'm gardening, I can practice, right? Like they're just like zombies trying to get my tomatoes, right? And what I mean by zombies is hungry people, because that's a reality. Gonna be hungry people, right? All right, anyway, so let's get back to cooking. Speaking of hungry, because I'm gonna have hungry people here pretty quick. Let's slide this back a little bit, get this all set up. Now, today, I got the oven going at 425. That's the first thing you wanna do. Preheat 425. Now, we're gonna have brown sugar, bourbon, apple pork chops. That's what it's supposed to look like. Let's see if we can get close. So first thing we want to do, we've got that oven going back there. It's preheated, right? So we chopped up a bunch of green beans like this. Now you want to rinse all of your produce, even if it's produce you grow at home. because there could be bugs and stuff in it. Sometimes floating your salad and that kind of thing helps get those bugs to kind of come to the top because they're drowning. Don't drown it. That's what I always do. I soak it in there, let them float. Then I shake and dry them out real well and put them in the crisper, right? I have one of those spinner things like this, and it just sucks all the water out. And then I put them in the crisper thing and put it in the what do you call that thing? The ice box, right? The refrigerator. Ice box, referring back to the old days, which we might all have to get back to. So what I did is I just took my peas. Now, I want to relate this to what we're doing too in the garden. Going to be growing green beans in the garden. So we're going to be using green beans, right? We won't need to get our ingredients like we have been recently. We're going to grow this stuff and use it instead of buy it in the future. And we're going to start using some of the same recipes, but we're going to be doing it with our own food, right? So we'll just trim the ends off of those, right? And what those are great for is you trim the ends off just like that, and you throw them, oops, not in your food, in a little bowl like this for the compost pile, right? It should be composted. Now you're going to throw the good ones in there. Now these have all been rinsed already and floated. So I rinsed them out. Now what it wants us to do is after we trim those, we take a pan, right? Let's get ourselves a baking sheet. Just like that. Throw a little oil on it. Just like that. And smooth it around with my favorite wooden spatula. I like my wooden spatulas and tools. I like things that people make with their hands, man. There's nothing better. See, that's the thing. You need a tool? Tell me you couldn't make that. If you can't, I'll show you how. You can make that. Look, it's even got a knot in it. It doesn't even have to be perfect, but it's perfect for me. So, I got that in there. Now I get salt and pepper out. And I just sprinkle a little pepper on the pan. That way there's some pepper and stuff on the bottom. Sticks to the oil too. Helps with flavor. A little bit of salt. Okay. Boom. Just like that. Now, it's oil, salt, and pepper. Set aside until ready to roast in step 3. Okay. So, now, what we're going to do is we got ourselves put some oil in there, boop, boop, like this. Put a bigger dribble than that. I already got some in here. Maybe a little tiny sliver of butter in there just for flavor, right? And we're going to pat our pork dry. Now tell me, who doesn't like to pat their pork? I just recommend if you're going to be patting your pork, don't do it dry. It causes chafing. Anyway, so let's get that pork out. We'll slice it here. Make sure I'm using the big knife today, so there's a high probability I may cut myself. There we go. Oops. So let's get that pork on there right, so I can do this with one patting, right? You don't want to pat too much. Excessive patting leads to what do you call that? Addiction. Anyhow, we're gonna drain the rest of that drizzle off. Throw her in the trash bag. Get something to kind of just keep my hands somewhat wiped off. And then we're going to take this and pat. You guys all thought I meant something else, didn't you? No, this is what I mean by patting my pork. Come on now, I'm wearing an apron. How easy would that be? If I want to keep it hidden, it would be. Anyway, so we're going to take and do that off of there. We're going to flip this over because this is what we can consider our contaminated plate. Although I don't worry too much about all that kind of stuff. We want to be cleanly, but you know, we want to be reasonable too, right? So now it says here, we're going to, so let's make sure. Yeah, okay, so heating that drizzle of oil in there, we want to put the brown sugar bourbon seasoning. Now they've got this Grill Master. I'm pretty sure you can get that in the store. Brown sugar bourbon seasoning. But if you didn't have this, you could just use some brown sugar, mix it up with all the stuff they say on the back as far as red peppers, and which we could do from the garden, right? Dried red peppers. We could make our own, actually. We could use a little bit of molasses, some caramel for color, a little garlic, little onions, right? All these things on the back of the package. There's your screenshot. All right, make sure, there we go. But it says to coat this with the brown sugar seasoning. So let's do that. Now, I don't want it's warm, so they don't need a coat, but we just do need to sprinkle it on there. You can go ahead and put things in the comment about the dumb jokes if you want. So we're going to sprinkle that on there. Doesn't that look good? I like to always get things good and sprinkled, right? And I always like to do two sides. You know, a lot of places they only do one side, but why would you just do that, right? That's like, isn't that being like, what do they call that? Being prejudiced, right? Showing favoritism, right? All that stuff we're not supposed to do these days. So I'm just going to go ahead and pat that down on there like that. Pat, 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 because we're supposed to be patting our pork. Anyway, we're going to flip this baby over like this. We're going to get the other side too. We're going to throw that back on the heat and get it ready for us because I think it's coming. All right, all right. And since this has all the things in it, you don't need to do salt, pepper, add anything to it really. And we're going to just, there we go. Good thing they gave us 2 packages of this. I'd be really upset if I couldn't cover my pork completely, right? Because you don't want to leave your pork half done, right? That leads to blue things. Anyway, here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. We're covering our pork with a brown sugar spice sauce. That actually sounds fun. No, don't do it. It probably burns. Anyway, we got a little bit left over and that's fine. So let's go ahead and throw these bad boys. Oh, listen to the sizzle. The sizzle for the grizzle. For shizzle, basil. All right. That's what we want. Yeah, we timed that good, right? Where's Chef Ramsay to yell at me going, hey, dickhead, get this done right. Okay, well, that's for shizzling on there for about, say, 5 minutes per side. It says 4 to 6, but let's do 5 minutes per side. So we'll let that go 5 minutes per side. I like to use tongles for my dongles right here to get things when I cook. So I got my tongle dongles out. Let's just set that there like that. Now, let's see, we'll set this off. One thing you're supposed to do too is you get yourself some walnuts, you know, a couple packages like that. That's probably about, that's about ½ ounce right there. So, you know, like an ounce of walnuts. And you go ahead, hey Benny, kill him, Benny, kill him. And you just poke a hole in it too first so the air gets out. Hang on, I gotta check to see if somebody's at the door. Who is it? I gotta get back on there. I'll get there. Go ahead and text me that or link or send me that picture. Maybe just take a picture of that other one or you can send it in. Yeah, perfect. All right, thanks. All right, I'm back. Anyway, hasn't been 5 minutes yet per side, so we're all good. So you take your walnuts and smash them up like this. That was a neighbor. Our fence is falling over. This house is old, right? This fence has served its lifetime and then some. And on some areas, due to the wind, it's caused it to fall into. And on our back, there must have been a disagreement in the past between neighbors. And what you had is two fences, basically. Now, that either could be from an easement, and there's something in between there. But honestly, you can build on an easement. You just have to be aware that they can yank it out if they want. And honestly, the way they built this, when you build right next to something, they're going to yank it out anyway because they need to work on it. So whatever's there, it should be deep enough. So be careful whenever you dig. But we got to get a new fence. Another expense we really weren't expecting, because it looks like a lot of those guys, I don't know, 75 feet of fence. And here, I'll tell you. Here's how bad wood prices have got. For 75 feet of fence, this includes removal of the old fence, right? One was $3,300 and one was $6,500. Yep. All of them, that's $33 a foot, I think, or... Anyway, way too much. I used to always do fences for $16 a foot, period. And made plenty decent money on it, or the guys that did it for me made plenty decent money on it. I know things have changed, I get that. But at the same time, so after we've bashed up our walnuts like that, so I'm going to call my friend Jordan Stevens. If you live in this area, Southern Oregon, Medford area, call Jordan Stevens, the best fence builder around. He's not only an honest guy, God-fearing, best family man you'll ever meet, but he does a great job too. And I think that that's important. So I'm going to give him a call. I'm also going to talk to the neighbor about maybe working together on doing it ourselves, or if he's not interested, as long as he's able to be patient with my process or my progress, I may even try to lick this thing myself, because anybody can build a fence, I'm telling you. All right, there's that one. Let's do 5 minutes more for the other side. Oh, that was too long. See, he bothered me. All right. Let's move that one to the cold side of the pan. Let's move that one, because this is just supposed to brown it, basically. Doggone him. I hate it when people interrupt me in the middle of things. Anyway, so there you have it. Like I was saying, anybody can build a fence. It's not hard at all. It just takes time and patience and knowing how to do it. And it's really easy, but the price of the wood is pretty expensive. So I'll look at those bids. I may have to end up paying to have it done just because of my health and everything else we got going on that has to be done. But you never know, right? You just pray about it and everything will come the way it's supposed to. I know I can build a fence, but like I said, I've got the garden and a bunch of other things to do. And well, it'll just work out, right? Right. We'll say some prayers on it. And if you guys don't mind, say some prayers for it too, just so that it does work out. Now, let's get back to cooking and have some fun doing that. Enough of that business thing. Anyway, hey, if I build it, I can do videos and show you guys how to do your own fence. Because we don't want people coming in, the zombies, the hungry people, to come get our food, right? Right. So, let's get that. Now, those are cooking. Hopefully no more interruption. Yeah, never take anybody's first bid, but always try to work with your neighbors. Too many people get in disagreements, and quite honestly, we need to be there for each other. So I understand it. I don't want anybody to get hurt. He says he's got wood propping it up on the other side in some places on his side, the fence that's on his side. I could be a dickhead and just say, no, you know what, our fence is fine, go ahead and put up yours. Although in Oregon, in case you didn't know, there is a law, and it was meant more for ranchers and stuff, but if you put and take the time to make sure the fence is exactly on the property line and build it, even if your neighbor disagrees, they still have to pay for half, even whether they accepted it or not or anything. And that is a law out there. Use it sparingly, though, because it's always better to have good relations with your neighbors than having to force the issue legally and do it that way. Because, I mean, let's face it, if the fence is falling down, don't we all need a fence? I mean, I'd like to say we don't just have fences down, but that's not reality. Plus, I don't like the idea of security without having some fences. And there's a lot of people out there that'll claim that just because you have a fence up, means you don't like people and you're not friendly and you're the problem with the world. Believe it or not, I've dealt with city jurisdictions like that where they wouldn't let people have fences any taller than 4 foot, and in some areas no fences at all. And I said, so when somebody's kid gets snatched because of your rule about a 4-foot fence on a backyard fence, are you going to be responsible for that? And then you want to know the weirdest thing? I went out and just want to check these real quick. I went out and took pictures of all of the people, got their addresses for all the city council members, and this was in Central Point, so I'll just tell you, but got all the city council members' pictures, and a lot of them didn't even live in Central Point, and even the ones that did and didn't, they all had 6-foot fences. Imagine that. I thought that meant they weren't friendly, nice people. So keep in mind, in a lot of cases, these people we sit in power, we want to make sure not to put people in there that do this. Well, the rule's for ye, not me, or thee, not me, right? That's not right. They don't get to have privacy and the rest of us not because of their ideals for getting reelected or their ideals on what makes friendly neighbors. And I took great offense to that, to be honest with you, because, quite honestly, I know my neighbors, and I may not talk to them all the time, but in any place I've ever lived, I always got to know my neighbor. I'm going to stop this early right here. Okay, I'm going to put that meat aside. I always took time to know my neighbors and be cordial and friendly, right? For the greater good of the neighborhood, but it didn't necessarily mean that I want them there walking over for a barbecue because there ain't no fence there unless they're invited. And it doesn't mean that I'm not friendly. It just means that I like my privacy and I respect their privacy and their right to like their privacy as well. Whew. So let's think about those things. You know, a lot of these laws and stuff come from people moving into our area that bring those ideas from elsewhere. So be careful of that too. All right, so we got that off the burner right there. Turn that off for just a second. Ooh, yeah, And then it says here, while the pork cooks, transfer to the bacon sheet. Okay, so now for the green beans. Let's push the timer off. Okay, so we take these green beans here. Nope, those are the trimmed ends. These ones here, and we just spill them on there, right? And spread them around. Now I like to spray those with some butter so they have a nice buttery flavor, right? And it helps the spices stick to them. A little salt and pepper. Alright, just like that. And I like a little garlic powder. Not much, just a little. You'll notice I sprinkle lightly, right? I like, look, you can put a little onion powder if you want on there. Gives them kind of just a perplexity or a complex flavor structure, okay? And then just a little chili peppers, but not much on this. You don't need much, just a little drizzle like that for color. And we can take this and spread our beans around a little. Oh, look at that guy's trying to get away. He says, not the oven, not the oven. Okay, so it says here, transfer the beans to the, roast on the middle rack until lightly browned. And then it says here, 12 to 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and set this in there for, let's go 15 minutes. All right, so we're in the oven for 15 minutes on the beans. So now it says while it's doing that, let's see, meanwhile, core and half and dice the apples into 1/4-inch pieces and trim our scallions. All right, so let's start with the scallions, the wrap scallions. So what we've got here is we want to take the little crazy top end like that. Now you could plant that if you cut it off a little bit bigger, and it may even grow for you. But we're going to go ahead and throw that in the compost pile because I got plenty of those growing. So you want to separate the whites. You want to cut them thin. Separate the whites from the greens because they do have a little bit different flavor. Right? The whites seem to be a little bit stronger. And as you can see, I've been doing that. I had 2 of these, so I had 2 little stalks like this. And as you can see, I just kind of go like that as I go. Some of them fall off. And I go until I hit the Y. That's where I consider the green to start. Right? So we'll take the whites here. just like this. And then we'll cut the rest of this up. This is the greens. Look at that. Go, go, go. Go, Rip. Go. Don't cut a finger. Yay, yay, yay. That would just be secret sauce. That's all. So anyway, we're going to throw that into a little container. So we got our greens and our whites. Now it says here to do the thing for the... I'm going to show you two different ways. One, if you got one of these nifty tools, these are worth their weight in gold. They don't cost anything. Get them anywhere. And you can just push that like that, and then I take my thumb and push it like this on the other side. If that was a whole apple, the whole core would come out. What did I just do? That's perfect for, well, let's see. I'm gonna take some of the, well, I'll do that later, but I'm gonna take some of these seeds out. Oops, see that? It just shot somewhere. There it is. See that? Take your apple seeds out of these cores, throw the core, the rest of it into your compost, and now you've got the startings of an apple tree, right? That's a good thing to start. Now, the other way to do it is you can just take your apple, split her in half like this, and take your knife very carefully, work it like this in a V, and core that thing out just like that with a whole half apple, right? That's the other way. So you can do it either way, even if you don't have that little fancy device. All right, it's not an expensive device by any means. Now, it says here we want to cut this up into 1/4-inch pieces, right? Dice it up into 1/4-inch pieces. So let's start with this one here. Like that. You don't have to be perfect about it. Right? There you go. That's close enough. Right? And let's put this in a container. So we're going to throw this off into this container here. Right? And then we'll just keep cutting. A lot of those will just stick to the knife. And we're going to cut this baby up here. Just like that. Look at that. You can take a couple whacks through it like this to make sure it's in 1/4-inch chunks. Right? Get that. And there's a piece of seed in there. Get this into here. Look at that. Now, I'm going to save one of these just for garnishing with. Alright, so we can make a couple slices like this in there. So maybe take say 3 of these just for garnish reasons. Throw them like that. Actually, just 2 is fine. Let's cut the rest of this up. Look at there. Now we're doing good. Gotta concentrate so I don't get my finger. Alright. Alright. So you can take a couple whacks through this. Just to make sure that she's in there like she's supposed to be. Alright. So now we got that in our apple. Let's see what else we're supposed to do. Okay, then it says take your pan. Let me just scratch that pan out just a little. Alright, so now we got some of those cracklings out, which I'll save for the dog food later. We're going to heat this up. We're going to put a drizzle of oil in there. Maybe a tiny little sliver of butter. Actually, what does it say? Well, it says to I take that back. It says to melt. I should read sooner. It says to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. So let's fix that. I think I didn't put much oil in there. There we go. All right. So it wants us to melt all that butter in there. Then it says, oops, a little bit of coffee. Medium to high heat, right? So we'll get this melted. Add the apple with the scallion whites, right? So, got our apple and our scallion whites. And I like breaking those up while I put them in there with my finger a little bit. Come here, you. We had an escapee. Don't worry, 3-second rule around here. Alright, so we got that kind of starting to sizzle around there. Let's see what it says here. Season with salt and pepper. Okay, we got a little bit of salt. And then a little bit of pepper. Alright, there we go. That's looking good. Cook stirring occasionally for 4 to 6 minutes. So that's about a minute until the other timer goes off. So we're going around, we're cooking like this. Yeehaw! Okay, so in another bowl, while this is doing, let's do the mixed greens. Now we've got our mixed salad greens. So like I said, if you've got those from your garden, float them. Oops. I'm clumsy. Anyway, put it in a mixing bowl like that. Some tossed mixed greens, and then the dressing and the walnuts. So we've got our honey Dijon mustard dressing here. We're gonna cut just like that. Look how sharp that knife was. Wee wee. That's right, Rick Crow got some sharp knives. Anyway, another thing I want to talk about too, and this isn't pointed at anybody specific, but you guys be prepared out there on the internet, on the news, talking with your neighbors, anything like that. These days there's going to be quite a bit of people that are hungry, desperate, unprepared, scared, worried, whatever you might want to say, right? And the thing with said people like that is when they're tasked with, we're going to fluff this up and mix it around, right? They call it tossing it, right? It's a different kind of tossing than some of you might know, but we're going to toss that. Now, these people, because they're desperate and scared, hungry, some of them are going to even be mentally not stable or borderline mentally not stable, and it's just going to be enough to set them over the edge. And they're going to take things wrong, and they're going to attack people that really love them, or they're going to attack people that maybe don't love them. But they're going to turn and bite the hands that feed them. They're going to act differently and strangely. What we all need to do is be able to identify that and make sure that we don't get involved, that we don't bring it to our home, right? That we help from afar, right? Try to bring words of wisdom and enlightenment that might help with the situation, help them see where they're, depending on the situation, where they're not really behaving properly or responding or reacting to something well, and that they maybe consider different ways to deal with, their feelings. Like, I don't know, how about talking to the person that you have an issue with, right? How about airing it out with them instead of the entire world, right? We got enough of that going on. We got enough division going on, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, heck, I just saw a report the other day where it sounds like all the other countries over there, Russia and all those other ones, the Ukraine and Poland and different ones, they're all preparing as if they might get nuked. I mean, that is something where I would think it would get everybody in this country and around the world to say, whoa, wait a minute. We need to be like, I don't know, changing the way we treat each other and being friends and saying, we're not down with that, right? The last thing we should be doing is attacking and preying on each other, right? Because most of the time, it's horseshit. And most of the time, the people watching it can even see that it's horseshit. But some of the time, there are people out there that are also feeling that way that won't understand that it's horseshit because they don't understand why they're feeling the way they are, right? And, we need to help minimize that, especially these days. Okay, so it says with this, the mixed greens here, add the crushed walnuts. So there's our crushed walnuts. We're going to throw those in there. I just think it'd be a better place if we did that. I mean, really, what does it serve? Who does it help? To be negative about anyone, really. I mean, it really doesn't do anything positive. It only brings more negativity. Okay, so now our salad is ready. So that's good. The salad's done. That's how easy the salad was. So we're going to set it over here. Look at that. Look how easy that was. Okay, so now these are just about ready right here. We've got our things for that. And I always save the little leftover, spices that we have. You can throw in a few of these into this if you want. Right like that. I think this is going to be mainly for garnish. So now, when this is done for 4 to 6 minutes, it's going to want this stock right here. And this is chicken stock. Or does it mean that it's just chicken? Like it doesn't want to be cooked? Look at that. Woo-wee! Sharp knives. Sharp knives. Alright. So it's going to want to throw in the chicken stock and 3/4 of a cup of water. Better get that. Seems like a lot of water. Let me take a look at that again. Yeah, 3/4 of a cup of water and some sugar. So let me get my sugar. Half a TSP there. Alright. So, this is done here. We'll take it off the heat. Turn this heat down for a minute. And then we're going to stir in the water, the chicken stock. And this is basically, it doesn't give a thing, but I'd say it's probably about 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons of chicken stock. And we're going to mix that around in there. And we can throw it back on the heat now that the water's on there. Alright. And then it says here, 1 TSP of sugar. So this is a half TSP thing. There's 1/2. There's 2/2, and you guys know I like things a little sweet if there's sweet in it. So I'm going to put another tablespoon TSP in there of sugar. Alright, and then it says cook until sauce has thickened and apples have tendered about 5 to 7 minutes. So let me hit this timer off here. That means our beans are pretty well done, so we'll take those out. Look pretty good. Alright. So this is reducing down about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, got the timer set. Got the salad ready. It says in the last 2 minutes, return the pork into the pan until warmed throughout. That makes sense. And that says season with salt and pepper. Alright, on. So, back to what's going on, right? So what I would say is this. Right now, what would I be doing? Well, I wouldn't be spending any time whatsoever on internet drama. None. Right? I'm just going to take a little sliver off of this butter and put her up. And the reason why is it serves zero purpose. And that's what we got for our compost pile right there. That's pretty sweet. I always love the compost. And that's our trash bag, so we'll get it out of the way. That's our mallet, we can put it back. And I'll always be keeping an eye over here to have this stirred around as it thickens. But the reason why, people might say, well, why don't you get involved in the drama? There might be some truth there. You know what? There might be. But can we agree to this fact? That most of the time, the reason we watch it is because it's kind of human nature, and we like to look at things like car wrecks and fist fights, like in high school, things like that, right? Girls pulling hair and writing slut, bitch, jerk. I once knew a girl that I guess was really mad at her. I guess it would be ex-boyfriend. I'm sure it was after this. And at the parent, and keep in mind, he's living at his parents' house. Got weed killer and wrote dick in the grass, and it killed it. And it said dick for a long time before that grass filled in and came back. Let me ask you, what did that serve? I mean, sure, let everybody know that he obviously made some young lady upset, and whether or not it was deserved or not, and that's kind of the point. We don't know, right? We don't know if it was deserved. We don't know if it's true. Hell, we don't even know if he really has a dick or much of one, right? Obviously not if she was good looking and he wasn't able to keep her happy, but just saying, we don't know. We don't know if it's the opposite way around. Maybe she's the dick. Either way, it isn't really our place to be getting involved. It isn't our place to be adding to it, especially if we don't know the whole story. Honestly, it's between those two people. And every conflict or confrontation is always that way. It's always between the two people that have an issue with each other. But too many times, would you not agree that the reason why things get worse or blown up, whether it's a world conflict or just some YouTube drama, is the fact that it draws in other people, and then it becomes something that it never was supposed to be, meant to be, or has any place to be, right? I think and most of the time it exacerbates it, and then you have all the people that's got to jump in because they don't have anything better to do, or maybe they're not quite mentally stable or whatever. Because let's face it, if you add to stuff like this, you truly aren't 100% healthy, right? Because if you're healthy, you'd be able to look at it and say, you know what, there's probably more to that story. I feel bad that these two people feel this way about each other. I really hope that they work things out, and you'd pray about it, wouldn't you? I know that that's what the big man would want, right? He's pretty specific, in fact, on things like gossip, drama, what do you call it? Slander, libel, all those things. He's real specific that we're not to be doing those things, and we're not to be getting involved in those things if we're watching from the sidelines, right? Now, a lot of people will use the fact, they'll say, oh, well, they always try to elevate themselves. I'm just looking out for everybody. I'm a hero. So if I am not doing this, nobody would be. I'm looking out for you. Well, guess what? None of us need anybody to look out for us. We should be able to look out for ourselves, right? And some of those skills are things like learning how to deal with conflict, right? You have an issue with something somebody said, or a question on whether or not they're being 100% legitimate or honest about what they're doing. You can go to them and go, hey, where did this money go? Or what are you doing with this? Or where did you get this information? And you go straight to that person to ask that, right? And the reason you do that is because you get the story straight from the horse's mouth. You don't cause something that draws in a bunch of other people and causes it to be something that is basically unhealthy and non-beneficial to the whole. And then you can decide from there if you believe what you were told or not, and then what to do with it. And you honestly, it's simple. You have two choices. You can either believe it and be there for that person, or you can not believe it and then put it in your information bank, your data point or whatever, to, well, maybe this person's not being so honest with me, so now I need to be careful around them. Maybe doesn't mean that you have to hate on them. That doesn't help anybody. And it doesn't mean that you need to go out and look out for everybody else going, you can't trust that guy, because honestly, you don't know. That's your opinion, right? It just means that you're watching out for you, right? Now, there are some things, because there's going to be people screaming out there, well, what about in the case of this, and what about in the case of that? There are some cases, ooh, that is coming along nicely. There are some cases to where, yes, if it means the immediate harm, and these are really pretty easy to see, it means immediate harm to another, a child, right? Something that is going to basically could kill or harm or maim the other person, right? And I mean serious harm, right? Not just hurt feelings. That is maybe the time that you would step in. But even then, you have to be careful, right? You have to be careful, because it really, the right way to do it isn't necessarily to go to the other person. The right way would be to go to the person doing it, saying, look, what you're doing is wrong. This is why I feel that way, and I want to give you the opportunity to make it right, or to deal with it, or to correct it, or to not do what you're doing, right? And if you don't, well, then I'm going to go to the authorities or the people in charge of dealing with these at a higher level and let them know, right? These are things that adults do. Adults don't get up on the internet and F you this and F you that and say, you can't trust this guy, you can't trust that guy, but you can trust me even though you don't know me at all, right? You'll never see me doing that kind of stuff. Why I'm on here is because of I want to do a few things. I want to get the positivity out. I want to bring people together, not tear them apart. So you won't see me doing anything that brings people apart. The other thing is I'm here to help in the 2A community, or help people see that there is a good, positive side to firearms, that the people that have firearms and the people who are conservative, and the people who are preppers, and the people that are proactive and self-sustaining aren't crazy people, because they're not. And that there are real reasons, like reasonable reasons, sport, fun, family time for doing things like going to the range and shooting, or being conservative, or growing a garden, or whatever it may be. There's always a positive way to do it, right? You'll never see me. Negativity is never the right way to accomplish anything, right? Now, I'm not saying there's not times that you might not have to defend yourself, and that is a negative action, but that's a different thing. I think we can all agree to that, right? So that being said, as far as the whole making money off of it and demonizing people for making money, I will never do that to anyone in anything you do to make money, because you have the right to try and support you and your family and your kids and help who you can if you have extra, those kind of things. It isn't for me to demonize that, and it isn't right. I hope you all, if you're getting paid to do YouTube and people like watching you and come to your channel and all that kind of stuff, wonderful. That's awesome. I am happy for you. Please do great things with it, right? And I don't even need to know what you make or anything like that, right? Because I don't know, and I wouldn't know, and I'm not for me to tell you how you should be doing it. I can see that for myself in the person and their character, and I think we all can, right? I would like to someday hopefully monetize my channel. And even though I can, I haven't. It's mainly procrastination because it's not at the top of my list. And that's what matters. It's not at the top of my list, but it is on my list. I would love to monetize because right now I don't work. I haven't been able to find a job that I can do that wants me. And I will be looking for that. And I always am looking for that. I may even try to sign up for DoorDash because my son just did it and it sounds awesome. Right? That might fit well. Looking for things to do at home. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with finding a way? If being on the internet, say to support myself and my family, since I don't work in my past, was basically what I've done all of my life. Right? It was my career. It's what I loved to do. Well, since I can't do that anymore, and I'm not super technical, which is where the world has gone, which was a mistake on my part. I should have learned more and paid attention more when it came to technology. But really, what is wrong with me thinking, well, hey, look, I can do DoorDash, so whenever I'm out driving around, I can make money. Do people... I mean, are you going to tell somebody you're an awful person for delivering money and or delivering food or groceries or going shopping for somebody and expect to get paid for it? Shame on you. You should do that for free because you want to. Yeah, I would love to be able to do that. I would love a society that didn't require us to have money at all. That everything we needed was just supplied for us. Right? That would be awesome. I could see myself being happy with a simple life like that. But it's not the life that we have to survive in, right? We kind of have to make some sort of money. And how we spend that and how we budget that says a lot about who we are. So that's a good thing. But if I do that and then say monetize my channel and make a few $100s, which honestly, I've looked into it. Anybody telling you that they're getting rich and they're under 1 million viewers is absolutely... doesn't know what they're talking about. Sure, there are people that make a killing at YouTube, but it's not your people out there with tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of people, right? And it's all relative, you know. Some may make, the smaller channels may make anywhere from $50 to $100 to maybe $300 a month. And then the next step up, when you start getting more viewers, you may make, you know, anywhere from 1,000 to maybe 10, you know, not 1,000 to maybe 2,000 a month or so. And as you grow, it gets, you know, exponentially bigger, right? But you're not like going on vacations and jetting around and all of that stuff unless you've got like 1 million viewers or more. And then those people usually put most of that or a lot of that back into their channels. Right? When you see guys buying brand new things for thousands of dollars and destroying them because that's what people want to see, which makes no sense to me at all, but that's what people want to see, so it gets 1 million views. They do that because they took the money they made from that and bought those things to destroy. I think that says a lot about our wasteful society and what is important to us that should be looked at closer and maybe evaluated a little bit. But honestly, that says a lot. Right? And that is what they're paid to do. If they didn't do those things, the people wouldn't watch, right? So to chastise anybody for making a living, no matter what it is they do, internet, at home, transcribing at home, doing medical stuff at home, doing sales from home, or anything like that, well, shame on you. I wouldn't walk into your job and say, how dare you charge me what you do? You should care about me because I don't have as much as you do. That isn't okay. Should people look out for people that don't have as much as they can, when they can, if they can? Yeah, I do. I think that as we do better in life, we have an obligation to do more for others who don't have as much. But it isn't right for us to say, shame on you. Right? Because we don't know. And shame on us if we ever do that. It's really not right. So now, enough of the downer stuff. I just had to say that and get that off my chest. It's not pointed at anybody or anything current going around, because honestly, there's a lot of all of that going around. I don't need to point anybody out. I could say that. I could throw a dartboard at a wall full of all the names of YouTubers and social media personalities and stuff, and I could throw a friggin' tiny micro dart at it and hit some sort of drama that's going on. So, not acted at anybody, absolutely isn't. I just note that it's been getting worse, and it's on purpose. They want to divide, and they want to get us fighting each other. Because wouldn't you? If you wanted to take over somebody's city, isn't it easier to get half of the people fighting the other half of the people, and then find out who agrees with you, get those people on your payroll, and after they're done destroying each other, go in and solve the issue and say, no more, this is going to be peace and everything, now it's all ours. That's the sacrifice. Think about that. Think about that when you think about the digital dollar. Right now they got us fighting each other like crazy, right? Well, watch out for the hero that comes in to fix it all and just wants you to just accept the digital dollar, or accept this, or accept that, and we'll forgive this, and nobody's going to be in trouble for that. But you'll find that there are strings attached, and there's going to be a rub, and you're going to give up a lot more than they're giving you. So we need to be paying attention to that. Whenever we are tempted to go out there and slander or say something negative about somebody else or anything like that, or start any drama or be part of any drama, keep in mind that's exactly what the people that truly are in control of things want, until they're ready to be the hero. Don't forget that. Anyhow, let's go. Got the apples in there now. It said in the last 2 minutes, so we'll return this over to here, right? It says put the pork in here. So let's get those in here to warm them up. Sorry if this is a little bit longer video. It wasn't intended to be. We're going to put those in there just like this to warm them up with the apples. Well, that just looks so good, doesn't it? Okay, and then we're going to throw in maybe some of these in here. And then we're going to put in this little sliver of butter that I took off. Right in the middle. Look at that. How awesome is that? This is what, see, sharing stuff like this. I mean, I'm loving learning to cook, and I'm loving that you guys are here with me, and that it seems like some of you enjoy it. And all of you may not, but that's okay. I do a variety of things here for everyone, right? And it's all based upon what you want to see, or what I think you might want to see if nobody's saying. So if you want to see something, say so in the comment section. I pay attention to it and do read them, and you guys know that because I comment an awful lot. And it really does help me do things that you want to see that help you, or even just telling me what you like. Lets me know I'm on the right track, right? Because what I do want to do is grow this channel. And I may have to, unfortunately, monetize it in order to do that. And I may have to figure out a way to get it to support itself so that I can do more and better videos with better quality and better editing and things like that. Well, that all takes programs, computers, things like that. You've heard it on everybody that ever wants to do anything like this. It takes money to do something better. And so I'll just keep doing it at the level I'm doing it. And as things grow, if we do happen to make money, well, that'll go back into the channel to make it a better thing. Right? And some of the times that means with some people that are out there doing channels that they need to pay their bills with some of that money too, so that they can stay home to make better and more content. And I think you can see those hardworking people because they're the ones doing it daily, grinding out, doing it. And many of those guys have jobs themselves at the same time. So just think about that when you're doing it and making criticisms and comments and opinions of others, right? So, look at that. So it says last couple minutes. Let's do that. Let those things have a chance to warm up. And we'll get a plate and ready to plate here. Get a little of this salad here. Oh, I like to throw craisins in the salad. So hang on a second. I got to get me some craisins. I got to move the camera just for a minute. We She's still in frame there. Okay. I might have not had that zoomed correctly. I apologize if that's the case. I'll do better. As I say, everything keeps improving the more I go on. So, yep. Alright, so here we go. I'm tossing up this salad with some craisins, because like you said, I like to add some craisins to it. Alright. So, and it sounds like everybody's home for dinner, so that's a good thing. We got our salad on there. And then, let's warm up them green beans just for a minute. And like I said about garnish, you can have a little garnish there. That's good enough. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Boom, boom, and boom. Like that. Look at that. That's beautiful. So then we'll take this. I'm going to flip that one over, flip this one over, and flip this one over. Into the juices. There we go. Looking good. And then we will that's warm, that's warm, that's warm. Okay, here we go. Throw that on there. We'll take this off the stove. We'll get a spoon. We're getting close. And we'll spoon up some of this apple goodness. And we'll spill it onto the plate as well. Look at that. Oh, hey, we got, that's right, I forgot, we got one more item. Here we go. All right, one more item. And that's our green beaners. Alright. And there, oh wait, and a few of these. Look at that. And there you have it. This is brown sugar bourbon apple pork chops with honey Dijon salad and green beans. Woohoo! Just for you. Look at that. Let's see. I'll get it on camera there. Look at that. Drool, drool. Anyway, I hope you guys are all having a good day. I hope you all stay safe, secure. Always be aware of your surroundings and be getting ready and prepared for anything that may be coming ahead, including the cost of food to go up. Till next time, adios. Oh, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.